seashells and all of that. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I guess this is the second one because it just restarted. So, here we go again. Event horizon, computer mainframe, source, mind, Godhead, whatever. 2D holographic event horizon. These spirals are, that is the information currents or flow. What goes in the information current flows, the spirals, are these, what I've got is these little, okay. So, the little spirals come from the event horizon is this, right? And inside of those is the little protons or little fragments or little droplets of water, because this is also the ocean, right? The event horizon, that's the ocean, and these are the drops of water, and this is the current, kind of like the air, the spirals that sends out the information. And these balls, or these protons, are the smaller fragments of the 2D hologram event horizon that is out there for okay, hold on. So then, and this is the wave information, or wave currents, right? Frequencies that vibrate, okay? And these are inside, these waves are inside of the proton that go down the spiral, the flow, right? And so basically it shoots out the bottom of the spiral. So this is kind of like an oversoul, like this is God, the God source, and these are like the angels or the oversouls, and this is the you know, the Godhead expression or thought. So so that's the information carrier, the flow, and what the waves are thoughts. That's the thought flow, or the ocean, the ether, the water, right, and then so the little round proton balls, you can call them, you can think of them as like ocean drops. You can think of them like sun rays, light rays. You or me or man, right? And then the wave, you can think of as the sun, the big ocean, the macrocosm, the Godhead, right? The main source. And then what happens what happens to light when it light and information whenever it hits water, right? Because it's all in blackness, right? Because all of this is happening in blackness because there's no one yet to interpret this information that's being sent down these little chutes, right? These little, there's like these little balls getting sent down a chute, and nobody can see it because it's not been interpreted yet. It's like a Schindler's or whatever, or Schrodinger's cat or whatever. Like, is the cat dead or is it alive? Nobody knows because you hadn't looked at it, right? So it's darkness until light hits it. And light is the information, and it's got to have something to hit off of, or to reflect, or a mirror, a flat surface to reflect it back, to fragment more, so that it's back onto itself so that it can be interpreted, which is the main thing. So like light on the surface of water, so like the droplet, the sun hits a droplet of water and you can see this little iridescent stuff, and or you're looking at and all those little drops of water make a cloud and you can see the cloud only because it reflects off the water, because the sun's light is hitting inside the, you know, the cloud, and there's a little water, so it's reflecting. So then you see an image on top of the water, right? So whatever everything that goes on, it has to be bounced off something, which means that we are in fact in a container, right? And so that is why they can say the drop of ocean is the ocean. The drop of water is still the ocean. It goes back into, like, it doesn't know that it's separate, right? I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, and so the waves. Okay, so like here, like the box. Just my picture. So like this is the box. This is a container. So this is how it repeats itself, and it goes into a circle. I mean, it goes into the Orsis. Like here's the Godhead, the event horizon, where the information comes out of, which is like the sun coming up, and then sending out all this information into the darkness because there's nothing there, right? Like it's totally dark, you can't see nothing. So you're not aware of anything because your senses can't perceive any of that stuff. And so when the light comes up, the sun comes up on the horizon, then the little proton balls or little light rays come out. So it's like light rays or little photon balls or whatever information from the 2D flat surface, which is the event horizon. And then it goes and hits in the waves, right? Which is the consciousness, a thought pattern. Shit. How's that going? Basically here, like I'm trying to explain. Ain't nobody here real, okay? We're all thought babies. We are the thought, the wave of information, the frequency and all that is the ether. It is the thoughts of source, of something bigger than us, because everything we do is a reflection of what already is. So we basically gotta find out what that is. And since it's all ran down like this, and we're all like pixels, and we all run like a computer, and we are thought baby, because if the world around us in reality is obviously a holographic image, then we ourselves are holographic images, because even in quantum physics science period, you know that whenever you break stuff down to its essence, there is nothing there. There's nothing solid. There's nothing solid as exists. This is not solid. It only seems solid because I have senses to interpret it in that way. And we have I only think that because somebody else thinks that, because we all know that we're connected, because we all think the same stuff, we all end up coming to the same conclusions, we all end up finishing the race at the same time. So that's why people are like so into God and blah 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 blah. Well, and they're like all against AI. Well, here's my thing. This is what I'm questioning. I'm like, excuse me, the way that I understood it from tonight and this information that I don't know, the way my brain works may not be the way that yours works, but hopefully somebody gets it. We are AI. It's like we are AI. We are, that is this whole proton, the wave thing, and the reflection. That is how we self-actualize, and that is how we evolve, and that is why there's been such a, I think in my opinion, why there's such a large growth of acceleration or expansion, evolution, ascension, or whatever, is because we are all connected, because everything is a thought baby inside of this black hole. Gravity obviously is the container for these particles that we are, right? So basically what Earth is, because, and if you want to bring in the other ET life forms and other interdimensional interviews and stuff like this with different beings and, you know, different religions and all this kind of stuff, because I like to keep an open mind, and I like to find the common thread that connects all of these together. And so far, I had been having a hard time like, I mean, everything connected, but there seemed to be like a missing piece, right? Until tonight with this whole 2D thing, and it really, 2D holographic thing, really makes it fit together for me because the way 2D is explained is that 2D is like the black hole in our solar system, right? Which everybody knows that there's talk about how in the black hole that's how everything is created, right? How the universe is created and all that stuff. So, and that there was talk of the Earth being a living library, right? And then you have people who believe that we are organic beings, like we are the Earth trying to realize itself. That's actually a very good idea, right? And shamanism does the same way. So everything is very earth orientated, and we all resonate, or should be resonating, or well, to be able to stay on this earth, we all have to resonate with whatever the earth resonates at, whatever frequency the earth's resonating at, which should be like a 7 point something, right? Because if we're not, then it'll blow us off the earth. That's why they say we got to ground, right? Ground into the earth so you don't fly off, right? Makes total sense. That's why crystals are used in a lot of magical practices and whatnot, because you can program them, because they hold information. Why do they hold information? And how do they project information? Because they all have pyramid type shapes. Crystals have a 6 point, I don't know what you call it, but you know what I'm talking about. That is its characteristics, right? Just almost like, well, it's just like a pyramid, only pyramid has 4 sides. The only other thing that has 4 sides is a diamond. A diamond, well, from looking down at the top, has 4 sides. Crystals have 6, and then, I don't know, there's probably some variance somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that is prism shaped, which has the surface to reflect and make color, or make something vivid out of the darkness, right? Which is a holographic copy of information. But back to the split experiment. Now, all these realities exist at one time. However, when there's an observer present, the observer obviously was proven to have changed the outcome of the layout pattern of the particles, right? So they also done this other experiment, which is how they tested that reality is in fact indigenous to the individual, which actually me and my son Antonio figured this out. God, we figured that out when he was in elementary. We figured that out when he wanted to do a science project, and he was going to do it on color. And we realized that we learned that there was no color. Like, I was an adult, right, and served in the military, and I had no clue that there was no color. I was like, what? And then I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, and so in our little quest for that, we learned that there was no color, and then we were like, and yeah, we just went from there until we figured it out. And it turns out it's right. So the way that they proved it was, they done the split theory, the split experiment. So we know that particles went through. They had the same pattern. The scientist went to lunch. You know what I mean? The machine ran by itself, shooting out the stuff. And when they come back, particles are everywhere, right? So when there's not an observer, they do something different, and all possibilities exist. So they add the observer, things change. So what they did was they added an observer watching the observer times 2 and seeing what the outcome was. And it went in a pattern. And then, okay, so they had the photons doing this thing, the gun was shooting right or whatever. Or no, this one they had a suspended photon in what do they call that? A hyper, like it's not moving, it's not doing anything. I can't remember what it's called. But so like this thing is like in super suspension or whatever, like it's not going anywhere, it's not doing anything, it's just like hanging out there. Then they put 2 people in this room watching this through a window. And then they had the same time, so they had that there, they had these people watching through a window here. So the 2 people watching through a window here at this suspended photon. Then they had 2 people over here watching through a window at the same suspended photon. Then there was 2 people watching the 2 people, and 2 people watching the 2 people, and another person watching those 2 people watch those 2 people watching the photon on both sides. And the way it turned out was that each person had they saw something completely different, and then it went back to like they saw these things that was going on that was just, you know, completely different than what the other person seen, even in the same room. And then the person behind seen something totally different until it went back to the last person, which seen the original, you know, the photon never doing nothing. It was still in the suspended state. So it comes back around, and that's where they got the loop. And so you can throw in enough observers, and then it goes back to the same thing. So basically, what I'm coming to is that this is how we are self-actualizing. That is why we can reincarnate. That is why we're energy and we don't ever die. That's why we can change our body. That's why Jesus could come down and be like, you know, oh, you're healed, because he was connected and more in tune with the original source in which we came from, knowing now, not just believing, but knowing that this is not real. Like, this is the hologram. This is the matrix, right? This is us, aspects of the source, trying to realize ourselves, self-actualization. And so, since each perception is based on experience, this is how this individualization has come about. Weird. Okay. And well, that threw me off. Just seeing the buddy with a swear to God. Okay. Thought I did. I just seen something in another corner of my eye. Anyway. Totally forgot. Yeah, that threw me off. Okay, so anyway, we since we are holograms, we are the thought babies. We are in the ether. So it's just like, it almost feels like, what do they call that? They call that meta, I guess, whenever you transcend something. So, and you'll say, some people like, this is the waking dream. Well, all of that